All right, folks, right now, as we do each and every Tuesday and Thursday, and we're not going to do it this week Thursday because we're going to be eating some turkey, but we're going to jump over to our man, Tim Ord. You can reach Tim at his website, ord-oracle.com. You see it right there. And don't forget, he's got 2 great webinars, folks, right under the Services tab at TFNN, The Secret Science of Market Tops, How to Identify Market Tops, and the 6 Secret Ratios Every Trader Should Know. Tim Ord, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So let's dig into it here. It's been kind of volatile over the last month. So kind of trying to figure out where we're going to go here. This is the October high right there. And that high, if you can see, was higher volume than the previous months before it. And so normally when you hit a higher high and a higher volume, at some point that high is going to be tested. And the test will be the proof of the pudding. Either you got higher volume on that test, that would be bullish, suggesting the rally is going to keep going. If you do it on a lighter volume, then you may flip sideways at least, and possibly even turn into a top. The high October came in at 689.7 on the SPY, which is 1.78 billion shares. So we're taking a shot right now trying to get to that high. Will we make it? At some point we will. That was the monthly chart. We're going to flip down to the weekly chart. This is the weekly SPYs. Back in October, you touched above the upper Bollinger Band. I do a lot of stuff with the Bollinger Bands. They seem to work really well. If the market gets really stretched, it'll hit the upper Bollinger Band. If it gets really stretched to the downside, it'll try to hit the lower Bollinger Band. In October, we hit above that Bollinger Band, and we got the consolidation. And we've been going down for, going into last week. That was, 3 weeks down. So now we're trying to rally back. And we kind of had a selling climax here. If you look at this volume and you compare that volume to the previous, going way back, that's basically the highest weekly volume we had going back to July. So definitely a selling climax. The bottom of that selling climax is support, the top of that selling climax is resistance. And we're about ready to hit that resistance, which is, a little bit above, 676, probably in that range. So we're going to hit that, if not today, tomorrow, if not tomorrow, maybe Friday. And if you hit it on a lighter volume, normally you have, it's a resistance. Is it a top? Maybe not. But this is actually bullish seasonality all the way into January now. You can have some weeks down, but usually you don't get big tops in November, December. If they're going to come, they're going to come in January, February, or March. So we'll see how that happens. But we may have a little resistance at last week's high. So let's get down to flip to the daily chart. Okay, this is last week's high, and it comes in around 676. We're approaching it. We had a selling climax. We actually talked about this last Thursday, about this low here, selling climax, testing the previous climax low in early October. We actually hit that on a little bit higher volume, but the next day we hit it on a lighter volume, and that ended up being the bottom. So if you test the selling climax on lighter volume, that's support. So to get below the previous low, you have to have high increased volume. But I don't want to get too complicated here. But last week's low tested the previous selling climax low on higher volume. If you kind of read that, you compare this volume here.
Sure. Yes. No, it's clear. I got you totally right. Yeah.
Yeah. So what may happen here, we may come up at some point, go back and test that low again on the weekly time frame. So it's a bunch of garbage going on, but at some point we're going to test this high up here. The only reason why I say that is because the monthly chart suggests we're going to test that high. So kind of difficult market, which is nothing unusual, as these trading ranges can be kind of furious. But at minimum, we're going to get back to last week's high, and that we're approaching that right now. So,
Can I ask you? Because you say that, and I think about it too. And it's just a vicious market in both ways sometimes, right? And does that ever point one way or the other to you? And because I look at it, and you look at a company, and I'm just going big picture, anecdotal, but Nvidia, right? Obviously in the press, they're ending it today. But just the swings alone for a company like Nvidia, it's so large. I think they're at 4.2 trillion now. They were at 5.2 trillion not that long ago. $500 billion on that equity, and just the market in general, the moves. I mean, even the SPY you're looking at 40. I think we got what do we got? 30 points, 30 points, 40 points, 40 points like that in 2.5 months. Does that give you, do you think of it just seems extreme, the market, and I love it because I think we're coming into some volatility myself too, as, of course we are, right? We're swinging. But do you look at that at all? It's a lot of volatility like you're talking about.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's actually, if you go look back in history, it's kind of normal through the October to the December time frame. If you look all the gyrations going on, that all happens the last 3 months of the year. And usually they turn out, market's up, I think it was 78%, not that high, 73% of the time, or around 70% of the time, the markets are up every year. If you go back in history to whenever I expect like 1930, if you go back and do history, so every year has a 70% chance the market's going to be up, and so and especially December or October through December, the markets usually end up bullish, even though you got a lot of volatility. They're bullish. Just getting back to the video. Actually, I don't have that chart in front of me. You flip to the monthly chart. If you're hitting higher highs and higher volume, I wouldn't worried. I buy the pullbacks. But if you see a big energy day coming off of a high, especially on the weekly time frames, volume usually starts to decrease or increase to the downside on pullbacks, and we kind of have that right here on the SPY. So it's something kind of worrying me here. Okay. Will it turn into a big bull market? Not for sure yet. It's too soon to say, but it does have some signs for it. So
I appreciate you breaking it down, because even myself, I look at that bar. I mean, you talk about a bar sticking out with selling, right? I mean, that is a bar sticking out with some selling for sure. Something to keep our eye on. Folks, we're coming back with Tim Ward. We got one more segment with him. Don't go away. We got markets in the green. S&P's up 1% now. We're drifting higher. Dow up by 700. We're coming back with Tim, folks. Stay tuned. Welcome back, folks. Markets in the green, and we're just drifting higher, almost near session highs right now. You got the S&Ps, up 62 points, 0.9%. Nasdaq 100 up by 0.5%, and the Dow up nearly 700. We're talking to our man Tim Ord. Don't forget, folks, you can reach Tim at his website every trading day, ord-oracle.com. There it is. Check out our man Tim, and he's got some great webinars at TFNN.com under the Services tab. All right, Tim, where are we going from here?
All right, let's take a look at GDX. This is the daily. I talked about Bollinger Bands. I put kind of Bollinger Bands and everything. They're just, even though it's kind of a low-tech indicator, it does really get a job to figure out where the lows are. This is kind of this is a daily, and I put a Bollinger Band on it. When it gets way above the upper Bollinger Band, especially when the open close are above it, you can expect consolidation. And this was a minor consolidation back in this time frame, but it did pick out the high right there to the day. It opened and closed above the upper Bollinger Band. That marked a high for a couple, 3-4 weeks, pulled back. And if you notice right here, you got the open close on that particular day right there. It's kind of a doji. He did open and close below the lower Bollinger Band. That pretty much marked the bottom. You got a test a week or so later, and now the market's trying to rally up here. We got a gap up here. That gap's going to get filled at some point. We did get above I drew this trend line right here because there was kind of a resistance zone. We popped above it. Now we're trying to rally. I don't know how long that rally is going to take, but at some point we're probably going to rally back up to the 84 area. But it goes up real quick. If you notice where the Bollinger Bands are right here, you see that right there?
Yes.
If you go up real quick, you'll get 100% above the upper Bollinger Band. That means it's a high. So you don't want this market to rally too fast. If it does, that 80, I've been saying 85 to 70 range is going to be a trading range. So if we kind of explode on the gold issues here pretty quick and you get 100% above the upper Bollinger Band, where the open closes above the upper Bollinger Band, you're going to consolidate. So, but if it kind of creeps up and the Bollinger Band just kind of goes up, that will say the market can go on higher. But so it depends on this rally. If you blast back up into that 85, 84 area and you close above the 100 Bollinger Band, you're probably going to pull back. So I'm thinking there's a trading range that's going to go on. This is a better view of it. This is the...
Can I ask you, because the Bollinger, right, for those listening that don't know it, I mean, that's basically like you have a moving average in the middle of it, and then you got the standard deviations. Is that what it is? Is that two standard deviations, the upper and the lower from that? Is that how that works, Tim? Do you know?
Well, yeah, I do. The middle Bollinger Band is a 20-day moving average, and the upper Bollinger Band's two standard deviations above the upper and two standard deviations below the mid Bollinger Band. So what it is if the market gets stretched too far in one direction, either up or down, it's going to hit the Bollinger Band. And so I do them on the daily, weekly, and monthly, and it's you just get market. You want the market, when it rallies, you want it virtually go up slowly, or not real slow, but if the faster it goes and it starts getting way above the upper Bollinger Band, it's going to pull back. Just to get back to medium, which is basically a 20-day moving average, which is mid Bollinger Band. So, matter of fact, let's take a look at. Glad you brought that up. If you notice, open and close above. This is a monthly chart, and if you look at that, I don't know, you can't quite see it, but that market back in 2016, open close above the upper Bollinger Band, that was a high. There, if you notice a little red thing there, that's the open close. It's a doji, but it did open and close above the upper Bollinger Band. That was 2020. If you look at the current time frame, this is what, November, so this is current, so this is October. If you look at that open and close in October, it open and close above the upper Bollinger Band. So it works on all time frames. It's a low tech indicator, but it seems to work pretty well. So
I love it, man, and I appreciate you breaking it down. I do, because everything reverts to the averages and statistics at some point. And when you're two standard deviations, I mean, the number it's a bell. Statistics, one of my favorite courses in college. It was, I remember, those bell curves, right? Statistics.
Yeah.
In terms of, and if you're at two standard deviations, it's supposed to be about 95% of those data points are going to be within two standard deviations. So if you go outside of that, folks, that's it. And guess what? That is straight up math, which it doesn't have to be complicated, like you say. I love it.
Yeah, it's easy. But here's what I'm saying. If you notice, we're halfway above the mid Bollinger Band on the monthly time frame right now. It's kind of hard to see probably from the folks, but if the thing keeps rocketing up here when we get back to 85, you'll have about 80% above the upper Bollinger Band. So I don't know if we'll do it this month, but I still think that the market's just due for consolidation. If you look at this rally, I mean, we've been going on up, for basically 2 years with very little consolidation. So I'm thinking we're due for some sort of a sideways pattern here. It's by the bigger trends. I've been showing the XAU to gold ratio and some bigger time frames going on. I think that this is due for consolidation. This is probably one wave there. This is two wave down. Then we went through a big three. I think this is probably four here. Then we go up to five later on. Maybe starts in 2026 sometime, but I'm not bearish here. They're going to have a rotation in the market. The big ones are due for a rest because they've been basically rallying for 2 years. And, are they going to rally for another 2 years? Probably not. So they're due for consolidation. I think the GDX is pointing that out. So, I got some emails. We never got to this last Thursday, but this is the monthly Roscan Gold Corp. It's a pink sheeter. symbols RCGCF. I guess your readers like the low price ones because I got a couple of emails from them saying,
I know, and I tell them you got to be careful with 8 penny stocks,
Yeah.
folks. That's all I'll say. If you're trading penny stocks, you better believe there's a chance they go to zero. But yeah, I mean, I can see why people like them when you go from 5 pennies in September to 12 pennies, right?
Right.
I'm sure. So go for it.
yeah. So yeah, it's kind of all or none. They're not going
Right.
to sit
That's a
around
good
and
attitude.
do
As long
nothing.
as you know you're risking the all or the none, right? You know, hey, right, we're traders. There's a risk and a reward on the table for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, they asked me to it. Well, the whole thing. This is a monthly chart. Momentum matters in the market. You got to have volume and price going up. If you don't even mess with it. But this particular case, you got a sign of strength through a mid-Bollinger Band, and you got decent volume coming off of that. That's the highest volume you had, except for that was a buying climax back in 2023. If you see something like that coming around, I'd sell it. But this is momentum starting to turn up. So what I'm thinking, the big stocks are going to take a rest, and that money's going to go somewhere, and they're probably going to stay in the gold market. So they're going to start picking these small ones up, and this was possibly one of them. No guarantees. Your downside zero, and your upside don't know. But,
Risk reward, like any trade, man. I appreciate the breakdown, Tim. You know, this is the dollar's bumping up against, this is me, but the dollar right now pulling back, and we'll see how that goes, because I think that could be a little wind behind gold's back as well. Tim, have a great Thanksgiving, man. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you next Tuesday.
All right, sounds great. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Folks, check them out, ord-oracle.com, and those webinars at TFNN. We're coming right back, folks.